Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. A North Yorkshire mum who lost her son in a car crash caused by a teenager calls for restrictions on new drivers.
When I hear of all these young people dying in very similar circumstances to Aaron, it hurts because I know it could have been preventable.
Campaigners have been in Downing Street today. Also tonight, Yorkshire fishermen win a legal battle with the government over river pollution, which could help clean up all waterways. Calls for a Leeds Employment Tribunal judge to be investigated over allegations of bullying and misogyny. And we meet the robotic delivery dogs taking to the streets of South Yorkshire.
And of course, it's been another beautiful day, a bit of a cold wind, especially along the coast, but lots of strong sunshine and lots more blue sky to come. Join me for the detailed forecast.
Hello, welcome to Wednesday's programme. A mum who lost her 18-year-old son, who was killed in a car being driven recklessly by a teenager, says she will keep fighting to try and change the law so no other family has to suffer a similar loss. Nicola Bell-Percy's son, Aaron, was one of 3 teenage passengers killed when an 18-year-old driver lost control of his car and hit a tree. Today, Nicola joined other parents to deliver a petition to Downing Street. Their campaign is calling for restrictions to be introduced on young drivers when they first pass their test. Olivia Richwald has more.
Nicola's son Aaron would have been 21 last year. These photos were collected for a charity ball in his honour that raised £18,000. The money went to road safety charity Break and the Yorkshire Air Ambulance, 2 charities close to Nicola's heart for the worst of reasons. Aaron was the passenger in a car which crashed near Bedale in July 2022, killing him and 2 teenage friends. The driver, Joshua Chapman, who was 18 at the time, survived and admitted causing their deaths. He was jailed for 9 years and 4 months. Now Nicola campaigns for restrictions to be introduced on young drivers when they first pass their tests.
It hurts. I mean, living each day, the loss of Aaron's hard enough as it is. I don't want it to happen to any other family. And when I hear of all these young people dying in very similar circumstances to Aaron, it hurts because I know it could have been preventable. Since the day we lost Aaron, I've known that changes needed to be made.
Today, Nicola was part of a group that went to Downing Street to hand in a petition with more than 100,000 signatures calling for graduated driving licences to be introduced. The AA is among the groups that have been campaigning for this change.
One of the things we'd like to see would be for new and young novice drivers, so under the age of 21, if you pass your driving test for that first 6 months, you don't carry any peer age passengers. That would really increase their safety.
I'd also like to see people not being able to drive at night, because that's when most of these accidents are happening, so like between the hours of, or have some kind of reduced speed for young drivers as well.
The AA says other countries which have graduated driver licence schemes have reduced the number of deaths on their roads.
Generally, they've seen around a 20 to 40% reduction in death and serious injury once they've implemented this kind of scheme.
The Department for Transport said it's not considering graduated driving licences, but it recognises that young people are disproportionately victims of tragic incidents on the roads, and it's working on the first new road safety strategy in over a decade.
Our voice is a whisper in a huge ocean and nobody's listening, and I don't know what else the government need to hear to actually make this change, because there's just families on a weekly basis now becoming part of our group, and I don't want to meet another family in my situation because my life's been completely broken.
Gosh. Next tonight, a tale of David and Goliath, and we love those sorts of stories, don't we? Pickering Fishery Association in North Yorkshire has won a landmark court appeal victory against the government for failing to protect and restore a river ecosystem. Costa Beck near Pickering had a reputation as a fantastic fly fishing spot. But after its waters became depleted of fish, local anglers took legal action. Nicola Reese is there for us tonight. She can tell us all. Nicola, a beautiful evening for it.
It is, and this little river was one of the most popular places in Yorkshire, as you mentioned there, to come fishing for trout and grayling. But today it is polluted and the fish stocks are in huge decline. Now, there's been a really big landmark ruling today, which the local fishing club here are really pleased about. The reason for the pollution in the river is threefold, really. There's sewage discharges, there is agricultural runoff from the fields nearby, and there's also a build-up of silt. Now, we'll tell you more about the ruling in just a moment, but first let's speak to Martin Smith. He's been fishing here for 20 years, Martin, and you've seen some big changes in that time, haven't you?
Oh, we certainly have, yes. It's gone from being a very productive fishery to virtually non-existent, sadly.
Tell me a little bit more about what you'd find when you're in the river in your waders.
Oh, tremendous. But besides what we've been catching the last few years, the records show that only a couple of decades ago you could catch 2,000 fish in a season on here. That's from the catch returns. Now you'd struggle to find one or two.
And what kinds of pollution have you seen?
Downstream, all sorts of rubbish you'd expect to get from an unscreened faulty sewage works. Upstream, we've got up to a metre of silt that shouldn't be in there, and our complaint has been that the EA have failed to stop this, and it's their job to do so.
So you're a tiny fishing group really here in Pickering, and you took on the government, and just over a year ago you had that ruling from the High Court. Judges found in your favour that the government wasn't doing enough, they were failing in their duty to keep this waterway clean. Tell us what's happened today and what you think about that.
Well, it's a fantastic ruling. We've said this before, for a small club to take on a government, we keep saying it's a David and Goliath situation, but thankfully Fish Legal and their lawyers and their barristers have helped us to win this case. They've now got to have a plan for every single waterway in the country.
So it means you'll get specific guidance, specific regulations for this river?
Yeah, they've got to step up, got to stop the pollution.
I'm sure you're really pleased about the... Are you celebrating this evening?
I shall be, yes. I've been dry for about 8 months, but I'm going to open a bottle tonight.
Well, the government have told us that they do recognise there are problems with this current system. They say that's why we've launched an independent water commission. They say they're determined to clean up polluted rivers, and they are considering today's judgment. So as you've heard, quite a complicated legal story, but at the centre of it, there is that local battle to bring clean waters and fish back to this little river. And I think today's judgment is a real step forward in that campaign.
Indeed, it is. Power to the people. Nicola, thank you. You are watching Wednesday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. We meet the stars of a new TV dance drama set in Chapeltown in Leeds. But before that, 10 women are campaigning to have a Leeds Employment Tribunal judge investigated after accusations of bullying and misogyny. The alleged judge, Philip Lancaster, behaved inappropriately in their hearings and say the Judicial Conduct Investigation Body, the JCIO, who oversees judges, has failed to address their complaints. Well, the JCIO said they could not comment. The women are now fundraising to pay for legal action to force an investigation. Abigiola has the story.
I'm a strong, independent, professional woman, a trained counsellor, and I was left traumatised and ill by the way the judge conducted that hearing and treated me.
It's 4 years since Alison McDermott brought a whistleblowing case against her former employer that was heard by Judge Philip Lancaster in Leeds.
He shouted at me. He interrupted my barrister when my barrister was trying to cross-examine the other witnesses. In fact, his conduct was so bad that I had several discussions with my barrister about whether we should ask the judge to stand down, to recuse himself, because his bias was so blatant.
She lost the case, although an appeal judge later found there had been errors in her tribunal, and she won some minor concessions. Due to ill health, Alison was unable to submit a complaint within the required 3-month timeframe. She attempted to do it within 6 months, but was told she couldn't. Philip Lancaster was the judge in Alison's tribunal. After press coverage of her case, she began to be contacted by other women who said they'd had similar experiences with him. Dr Hina Tahid was pursuing a maternity discrimination case that was also heard by Judge Lancaster in 2022.
I'd come to court because I'd been bullied by a man, only to come to court to be bullied by another man. I honestly felt bullied by the judge. That's how I felt. And the way I was treated throughout that employment tribunal, continuously shouted at. My barrister recorded that to be about 16 times I was shouted at. It just got from bad to worse.
She has made a formal complaint, which has been investigated, but she's been told there'll be no outcome published until her appeal is completed.
I have requested multiple times at different stages for them to relook at my complaint and make a decision about it, purely because of my concerns about how many more people have come forward about this judge and how that could have been prevented if my complaint had actually been dealt with.
There's now a group of 10 women who've come together to raise concerns about Judge Lancaster. They're fundraising to pay for legal action to force the JCIO, the Judicial Conduct Investigations Office, the body responsible for overseeing judges, to investigate their complaints. Dr Charlotte Proudman is a barrister working on the case. She's a specialist in women's rights.
There has to be a system of which is transparent, such that they can be held accountable when they get things wrong. And if there are 10 women that are coming forward in respect of one judge, Judge Lancaster, why is it that he is able to continue without proper, as it seems, due diligence and investigation in respect of his conduct?
The JCIO told us they can't comment on individual complaints, and individual judges are also unable to comment on cases or matters of conduct. Alison and Hina say they and the other women they're working with just want their complaints to be heard and investigated.
We haven't come this far to only come this far. We've had justice delayed, but we won't have justice denied.
Well, Abby joins us now. Abby, do we know how many complaints like this there are?
That's really difficult to gauge, Amy. The JCIO, they don't officially publish their figures, so there's no way of knowing how many complaints have been made against which types of judges. They do publish an annual report. The most recent one is 2022 to 2023. In that, they received 1,600 complaints, but of those complaints, only around half were investigated because the other half weren't about misconduct matters. Of the complaints investigated, only 36 resulted in disciplinary action. The JCIO only became responsible for employment tribunal judges in October 2023. So there's no way of kind of comparing how common or not this is, just because the information isn't publicly available. They did say with this case they wouldn't comment directly.
Yeah, it seems like these women are coming up against a bit of a brick wall, doesn't it? Is it different to complaining about other legal professionals?
It does seem to be. If you wanted to complain about a barrister or about a solicitor, you could do that for many years after you've been involved with them. But Alison McDermott was told because she was outside of a 3-month time frame, she couldn't put in a complaint. There's also issues about getting the official court record as well. For these women, it's just the judge's notes they're relying on. In other courts, it would be, you can apply for a transcript. They're saying the judge won't release the notes in this case, and that's obviously something that they want to be looked at.
Yeah, and it's a story we'll keep on following. Abby, thank you. Let's take a look at some other stories now. A bus driver has suffered life-threatening injuries after a crash in Leeds. The bus collided with a Luton van before hitting a house on Ledwell Lane in Rothwell just after midday. Police said the van driver failed to stop and left the scene of the crash. A number of bus passengers were also treated for injuries. A Greek speedboat driver charged in connection with the death of a North Yorkshire mum in Corfu 4 years ago has been found guilty. 60-year-old Claire Glatman from Bedale was fatally struck by the speedboat while swimming off the coast of the island in September 2020. The 51-year-old driver, Hala Mabus Karabouris, was found guilty of neglect manslaughter in a Corfu court today and was sentenced to a 3-year suspended prison sentence. A former South Yorkshire police officer has been arrested on suspicion of raping a teenage girl in Rotherham. The former police constable, aged in his 50s, is the third officer to be arrested as part of the investigation from the Independent Office for Police Conduct. It's reported the alleged offending happened between 1995 and 2002. He's been released on bail. A Burmese student in Huddersfield has started a GoFundMe page to raise money for aid to help victims of the earthquake in Myanmar. Owen Kaumiyat's family lived in Mandalay, the epicentre of the 7.7 magnitude earthquake. His parents are fine, but he's trying to help hundreds of other victims left injured and homeless.
The idea is to send the supplies immediately, and as we've got all the connections and the volunteers on the ground, and time is really critical here, and try to stay strong as possible for my family and friends as well.
Let's take a little look at some sports news now. Bradford-born tennis player Francesca Jones had to be helped off the court in a wheelchair after she collapsed during a match in Colombia. Jones, a clay court specialist who grew up in Oxenhope, was attended to by medical staff and was unable to finish her match. Tests have since shown that there will be no long-term impact from the scare, which was due to her not acclimatising to the high-altitude conditions. Now, Dreamers. It's a new Channel 4 drama series following the lives of young dancers in Chapeltown in Leeds. It was written by local writer Lisa Holdsworth, and many of the actors and people behind the cameras were street casts, so that means they had no previous experience in the industry at all. We'll chat shortly with Lisa and a couple of the actors, but first, let's take a look.
Take some deep breaths. It's not easy having talent. It takes work.
I'll see you in a bit, all right?
Good luck. And 5, 6, 7, up. These people are my friends, my family.
Who are we?
So yesterday, things got a little bit out of hand. I won't let you lose out on your dream. Go out there and show them who you are, because that's more than enough for me. We need you out there.
There's a little taster of it. Let's welcome Lisa Holdsworth, Princess Nelia, who plays Puppy, and Tyler Pickles, who plays Liam. Welcome to all of you. Lisa, I am hooked already. I've only watched episode 1. This was so ambitious because we started talking about this 5 years ago, didn't we?
It doesn't feel like it, but yes,
yeah.
It was all that time ago.
And then to street cast it, both in front and behind the camera, why did you decide to go down that route?
To get fresh talent. It's simple as that. We saw, I think, nearly 1,000 people when it was all said and done, and just to get people who were authentic, who had good Leeds accents, who could dance and act. It was fantastic. We could have cast it 15 times over, to be quite honest with you, but we got the creme de la creme, as you can see.
Yeah, and authentic you certainly are. You're from Leeds, both of you, aren't you? Princess, for you, how was the whole open audition process? Because you were a dancer by trade.
Yeah, I came into it just with an open mind, no pressure, and I was saying to these guys, usually auditions, you'll feel the tenseness in the audition, but it was just like a workshop. It felt more like a workshop than an actual audition, and everyone was lovely. So it was really good. It was a really good experience.
And Tyler, did you feel like you were literally learning on the job?
Yeah, quite a bit. I was very much, during my training and stuff, I was very much a physical actor, somebody who's very much used to stage. But yeah, so I very much got trained in the world of screen acting because it's two completely different crafts. Yeah.
And you were also working with people behind the camera who had no experience at all in the industry, so you were all learning together at the same time.
Yeah, we're all learning together, and I think it really added to the atmosphere on set.
Yeah.
It very much added some camaraderie, family, dare I say. It allowed us to become very close as a unit, and I think it allowed for a very optimistic, can-do, and just really energetic set.
Lisa, you have written lots of dramas, series over the years, Waterloo Road, to name a few. This feels very different to what a typical dance series would feel like. Yeah. There's no glossiness.
Nope. The director, Sarah, did a fantastic job with the camera work. So I've never seen Leeds look more authentic, but also look so beautiful as well. Who knew Leeds Market could be romantic, but it is. it feels like a real slice of me out on there, but with amazing feeding from everybody else involved. So it's, you know, things I'm really passionate about, young people getting access to creativity, my city, the art is for everybody, so, and that's very highfalutin, but it's fantastic to see it come to fruition because it was a long time working on it.
And in a time when lots of teenagers are in the spotlight for not having good role models, it's wonderful to see such brilliant role models dancing and being creative. So best of luck with it all and well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is a really good watch. Finally tonight, what do you think this is? Kind of looks like Man's Best Friend, doesn't it? But a computerised version that has definitely been set to work. These robot dogs are being tried out in Birdwell near Barnsley. Now, the parcel company Every are running a 3-month trial to see if they can help two-legged couriers get more parcels through the door. Tom Ingle has been out for walkies.
Postman Pat had his black and white cat. Your everyman has a more heavyweight friend, or at least might do if this trial is successful. The robot delivery dog can navigate around obstacles before obediently rolling up to the front door and wagging its tail to drop off the parcel.
We're doing e-bikes in London, so why not choose Man's Best Friend to support that delivery?
It's Man's Best Friend, but with a Terminator vibe about it, maybe.
It has, yes. It can sit at a doorstep for a number of minutes, rather than, you know, the courier likes to deliver as quickly and efficiently, as effectively as possible. So, for example, if you take the case of somebody who's got a disability, it can sit on the doorstep for 10 minutes with that parcel.
Just around the corner from where we've seen those deliveries being made is Every's parcel warehouse in Hoyland. It's the largest on their network, and it can handle 1.1 million parcels every day. Now, the robots and the couriers will depart together from here in the morning, but some of these items on the conveyor belts may end up reaching your front door untouched by human hand. For today's demonstration, though, the dog was being guided. When the trial starts for real later this year, it will work the streets alongside a regular courier.
Imagine you have a full load of a van, so what you normally do in 8 to 12 hours, you can shrink to 4 to 6 hours.
Are you worried it's going to get pinched?
Pinched by who?
Well, I don't know, just a ne'er-do-well on the street, or a youth intent on vandalism.
Yeah, I mean, we see this, for example, with all the scooters in the cities, right? Our system is a little bit different since it comes out of the van and there's a driver close by. It might happen, but I think the likelihood is lower. I don't think that at night you can have like teenagers that are having a funny day to like pinch the robots, yeah.
This is one colleague who also helps pack the van at night with itself. Now that really is first class. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Birdwell.
You see, we have a delivery driver called Wayne, and everyone knows him in the village. We have a good chit-chat. You're not going to get that from a robot dog, are you?
You told me a lot about Wayne.
I really haven't.
Would you like to see the pictures that
You're going to start rumours, you are.
Your husband's watching. Look at this in Otley this morning. Lots of mist and fog. That actually cleared very quickly. That was at Lower Wharfdale. The sunrise was beautiful if you're up early enough. The next picture was taken in Sheffield, Brincliffe. Really nice. If you look very carefully, you can see Sheffield city centre down there. Keep the pictures coming in. Lots of blue sky to come in the next few days. If you've got any lovely pictures, send them to me on X, Instagram and the Weather Watcher website. And in the night sky around about 9 o'clock this evening, there'll be a beautiful crescent moon in the southwest. That was quite a sight last night as well. So very, very straightforward forecast skies. Again, like this tomorrow, it's dry and sunny. A chilly wind again. It's been cold along the coast despite the sunshine inland. Best temperatures always in the west. High pressure is sat there, and more or less it's going to be sat there for until the middle of April. It looks like an exceptional dry spell is upon us with no rain in the forecast at all. That little weak cold front might bring a bit more cloud for time on Saturday, but then that cloud will break up and it's back to sunshine during the weekend and into next week. There's the satellite picture. Nothing to talk about on that. So we'll start the sequence this evening, and it is quite chilly out there. That sun's obviously weakening and setting in the west. And overnight, like last night, a bit of patchy low cloud across the Pennines, a bit of mistiness in the Vale of York, and just the outside chance of a touch of ground frost, maybe down to 2 in the Vale of York. Tomorrow's high water times then, a sunny but chilly coast. Scarborough 8:21, Bridlington at 8:40. So that mist and patchy fog clear by about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it's just blue skies all the way. I don't think we'll see any clouds again during the course of tomorrow afternoon. Fair variation in temperatures, actually becoming quite warm inland, a bit better than today, maybe 17 in Leeds and Sheffield, 15 in York, but 10 or 11 in Scarborough. You'll still need your thick sweater and anorak despite the sunshine. And just check this out for a further outlook. As I say, there might be a bit more cloud for a time, especially towards the coast on Saturday, but lots of blue sky and sunshine, dropping away temperatures at the weekend but recovering next week. That's the forecast, Amy.
Do our delivery drivers need to be wearing sun cream?
Yeah, well, you'll have to ask Wayne about that.
Well, I don't want Wayne getting sunburned. That's why I'm asking. I'm concerned. That is it from us. We'll be back with Tom Ingalachi with your late news. Bye-bye for now. Robot dogs, definitely.